Now we're together on validity, or I hope we're together on validity at this point. That is, validity has to do with the connection, the logically strong connection between premises and conclusion. And we're looking again at the definition sitting up there. Impossible for the premises to be true and the conclusion false. There's no way to imagine the premises, a situation in which those premises are true and the conclusion false. Or another way of thinking is that you cannot describe, without contradicting yourself, a situation in which all of the premises would be true and the conclusion false. But we said that's only the connection. That is, that's only one of the two things you need to have a good argument. And that is, to have a good argument, or as we say in the philosophy world, a sound argument, you need two things. You need good logic, you need the inference to be valid of the conclusion from the premises, and you need to have the facts right. You need to have true premises, or sometimes we say reasonable premises, things that we have reasonably good reason to believe are true. Now, here's an important point. If an argument is sound, we ought to accept the conclusion of the argument. So you should never say an argument is sound and then proceed to say why the conclusion is false. Moreover, even more importantly, I can't emphasize this enough, if you think that the conclusion of an argument is false, you better at least think either that the argument is not valid or that one of the premises is false. Right? You have to believe. You can't accept that the logic is good and the premises are true and deny the truth of the conclusion of the argument. So if you think the conclusion of the argument is false, it's incumbent on you to at least try to figure out in what way that argument is defective. And let me just remind you, the same way I did with validity, from the fact that an argument is bad, you cannot conclude that its conclusion is not true, because you can have many bad arguments for true and perfectly reasonable conclusions. A bad argument, an argument that's not sound, just fails to give reasons to believe its conclusion. And let me just emphasize it again. I know I'm, probably driving you crazy at this point, but from the fact that there is a bad argument for a certain conclusion, it doesn't give you any reason for thinking that that conclusion is false.